Hello, welcome to United Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor John. Today's story is going to be a sad story. It's a story of Good Friday, the day in which Jesus dies on a cross. But we know that there is always hope in the future on Easter. So I invite you to sit down. This is a little bit longer story, and listen to the words that we hear in this story. Jesus had a good friend named Peter, who was there when Jesus healed people and made miracles happen. Jesus liked Peter so much that he gave Peter the nickname, the Rock. Jesus had another friend named Judas. Jesus, Peter, Judas, and the other disciples spent a lot of time together. They were all together when Jesus told them that his life had to end. It was a sad and hard time for Jesus and his friends. Jesus felt so sad that he went to a quiet place in a garden and prayed. "Please, God," Jesus prayed, "make me strong. Help me trust you." Jesus asked the disciples to come to the garden and stay awake while he prayed, but they fell asleep. "Wake up, wake up, wake up," Jesus told the disciples 3 times. When Jesus finished praying, it was time for them to go and face hard things. Even though Jesus had many friends, he had some enemies too. Some people were scared that Jesus would change the world too much with love. Judas got scared too. He let Jesus down. Jesus told some of Jesus' enemies where Jesus was. When soldiers came to the garden, Judas kissed Jesus on the cheek to show them who they were looking for. The soldiers took Jesus away. Judas and Peter ran away and hid. They were scared. Later, Peter waited outside the place where Jesus was on trial. A girl saw Peter and said, "He's a friend of Jesus. He's in trouble too." Peter wanted to help his friend Jesus, but he was scared, so he pretended he did not know Jesus. "I don't know him," he told the girl. "I don't know him," Peter said. His lie made him feel even worse inside. Peter ran away again. He cried and cried. Peter felt so sad for Jesus. Peter felt very, very sorry. But Jesus knew that Peter loved him. Jesus knew that Peter was his friend. That's why he had given Peter such a special job. The Rock became a strong leader in the church. He told many, many people about his best friend Jesus. "I know him, I know him, I know him," Peter told everyone. And that was the truth. The priests were mad at Jesus and wanted to get rid of him. "What will happen to us if the people follow Jesus?" they grumbled. So they made a plan. "Let's take Jesus to the governor, Pontius Pilate. He can get rid of Jesus." When Pontius Pilate saw Jesus, he asked, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus didn't answer. Pilate thought kings ruled over countries and people. Jesus knew that his power was about loving God. Jesus' kingdom was not the same. Pilate was frustrated. Some people wanted to kill Jesus, but Pilate didn't think Jesus had done anything wrong. Pilate didn't want any trouble, so he handed Jesus over to the people. The priests smiled. Soon Jesus would be gone. Jesus knew that he would die. But that wouldn't be the end of the story, because Jesus knew God's plan too. Now, it was a very sad day when Jesus died. The soldiers who had arrested Jesus teased him for pretending to be a king. They took his clothes and put a king's purple cloak on him. They made a crown of vines with sharp thorns and put it on Jesus' head. Ouch, that must have hurt. The soldiers made Jesus carry a heavy wooden cross. The cross was too heavy for him. Jesus fell and skinned his knees, and the cross tumbled to the ground. A man in the crowd carried the cross the rest of the way. The soldiers nailed Jesus' hands and feet to the cross. They raised Jesus' cross on a hill between 2 other men. The 2 other men were thieves, and they were being crucified too. One of the men was angry with Jesus. "If you are a powerful king, can't you save yourself? Why don't you save us too?" the man spat at Jesus. But the other thief believed in Jesus. He shouted back, "Don't you know who this is? This is God's Son. He hasn't done anything wrong. We are being punished for our mistakes, but Jesus shouldn't be here." The man turned to Jesus and asked, "Will you take me to heaven with you?" Jesus looked at the man and loved him. Jesus told him, "Yes, today you will be in heaven together with me." After a while, the world grew very dark, as if a terrible thunderstorm was coming. It was as if all creation was crying because Jesus was about to die. Jesus was feeling all alone and prayed to see if God was still there. Of course, God never left Jesus. God was with him the whole time. Jesus looked at the crowd. He was so sad that people didn't believe that he was God's son. He asked God to forgive them for killing him. The soldiers offered him some sour wine, but he didn't want to drink it. He was ready to die. Finally, Jesus had fought for long enough. He said, "God, the work you gave me to do here is finished." He breathed a final, long, slow breath, and then he died. So certainly this is a sad story of Jesus dying on the cross. But there's good news. There's good hope for us. For on Easter Sunday, just 3 days away, we will celebrate Jesus coming back to life. It's called Easter and the resurrection. So today, let us give thanks to God for the gift of God's Son, and on Sunday, let us rejoice that God brings him back to life in the resurrection.